7 after winning their second Super Bowl in 5 years. Their general manager, Jerry Reese, joins us now. Jerry, welcome. How are you?
Mike, Happy New Year. How are you? I'm
too.
Doing great. Thank you.
Happy New Year to you. A couple of days after the season ends, Jerry, put it in perspective for me.
Well, the number one thing I can say about the season, we didn't get the job done. That's what I've been telling everybody. You know, that's soup to nuts. We didn't get the job done, and it's disappointing for us to be in this situation because I do think we have some talented players on this football team. But for whatever reason, you know, it's probably a lot of things you can point to. But the number one thing you point to is we didn't get the job done.
What do you point to as to what went wrong? And if at 9-7, as you say, you didn't get the job done. You didn't do what your plan was, which was to make the playoffs. What went wrong for you with this team? What do you think happened to this team?
Well, just the inconsistency was that probably, you know, sticks out to me the most, that we're so inconsistent. You know, I think at one time we had a 3-game lead in our division, and, you know, when you have a 3-game lead, you should close your division out. And for whatever reason, we didn't do that. And, you know, we're hard at work right now trying to figure out, you know, what went wrong and evaluating everything that happened, and evaluating our personnel as we move forward, and try to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again.
When you look to the bright spots, give me a few of your bright. I think I can figure a couple right off the bat, but give me a couple of what you would call the bright spots in terms of personnel this year.
Well, the personnel, obviously, you know, the young kids, you know, came on at the end and did some nice things for us. Our first-round draft pick, David Wilson, you know, showed that he can be an explosive player, and you know, he can be a weapon in a lot of different ways, as a returner, as a receiver out of the backfield, and of course, you can just hand him the ball, and he can go 80, 90 yards on any touch. So we saw some of the things that we liked, you know, going into the draft last year, and we picked him. And hopefully he'll continue to develop and you know, and be a good player for us for a long time. And Ruben Randall, who we talked about, Mike, in the first round,
right?
He came on and showed some big-time receiving skills for us, and we think he's going to be a really good receiver moving forward in our stable of receivers moving forward. So those two guys jump out right away at you.
How about Stevie Brown?
Yeah, well, Stevie Brown, you know, came out of nowhere, and you know, last year, as we're doing right now, we're beginning to look at the UFAs. You know, he's a guy on the street, a free agent,
yep.
And you know, we looked at our personnel staff. You know, it's like, you know, let's look at this guy. You know, they brought to my attention and made a profile tape on him. He was really good on special teams. That jumped out at us the most. You know, he was young, 23, 24 years old. He could run, so he had some redeeming qualities about him. And we thought, well, maybe, you know, bring this guy in, see what he can do. He might ascend, and you know, all of a sudden he's 8 interceptions. So you're happy to see guys like that come on and do a good job for you.
Yeah, him, and especially, I mean, the two guys that you look at that jump out at you on the restricted free agent list are clearly Victor Cruz and Stevie Brown as guys. Obviously, you want to keep around here, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, you know, Victor, you know, had another terrific season, and he, you know, we talked to him a little bit. You know, I don't want to talk too much about players' contracts,
right.
But you know, we did speak to him, you know, briefly, him and his agent, about trying to extend his contract, but nothing materialized during the season. So we'll revisit that as we move forward with our evaluations and see where that goes.
Talking with Jerry Reese. Jerry, do you look at it as year to year, hey, we're just going to, you know, take our best players, or do you realize there's going to be watershed years where there is going to be a lot of turnover? And if that's the case, does this look like a big transition year coming up?
Well, you know, you never know. Again, we're still in the early, you know, process of evaluating our team. But you know, just looking at it from where I'm sitting right now as we speak, I don't think it's going to be, you know, the team's going to look different. But I don't think it's going to be a huge, you know, it's not going to be. We don't have to blow the thing up here right now. I think we can salvage, you know, some of the good players that we have, and obviously we're looking free agency, and we have the draft to try to add some more players. But I really don't think we're that far away. what I'm trying to say to you, Mike. And I think if we just and again, we were so close so many times, and for whatever reason we had 2 or 3 bad games that, and again, I told the media a couple of days ago, it just makes me scratch my head. Why would we play so badly in some big spots right there?
The way I always look at it, we're talking with Jerry Reese, is I look at it this way in this league now. You have your core, and if your core is you're happy with your head coach, you're happy with your quarterback, and you have a couple of game breakers on each side of the ball, then I think you're where you need to be, and you can fill. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about offensive line and stuff like that, but you need a couple of guys who you think, and you have that. You have that with Cruz and Nix, and maybe we'll see what Wilson develops into. You have that with Pierre-Paul on the other side of the line. So to me, you have that good core nucleus of game breakers, and you have your coach and quarterback in place. So that is a good place, I think, to start from.
Well, yeah. You said a mouthful there. We have some good players. We have a good core of players coming back. We feel good about them. But again, it's every year is different. Your team is different. You have to improve. And I said to the media, a couple of days ago, we don't get paid here to go 9-7. It's just not acceptable, and that's not what our goals are. We don't start the year out saying, "Wow, let's go 9-7." But again, the league is a tough league. Our division is a tough division, so you really have to grind out, and you have to manufacture a couple of wins, during the season that people might not expect you to win, the games you might not expect to win. And the ball can bounce a couple of different ways. You can be in the playoffs or out of the playoffs, and some of the bounces didn't go our way, and most of all, we didn't play well enough, and we want to correct those things. One
of the big things, and we're talking with Jerry Reese, the Giants general manager. Tom Coughlin will follow Jerry as we kind of do the state of the Giants, which is 9-7 on the outside looking in, and they will be in the quest to try and win a third Super Bowl in recent years as they begin next year. And clearly, one of the big questions, and I'm sure it's one that you've been chatting with people about inside your organization, is where did the Giant pass rush go? Where did that pass rush that is such a big part of what the Giants are, where did it go this year?
Mike, I'd like to make some excuses for him. We didn't get the job done. That's the number one thing I can tell you. We didn't get the job done. And again, you can say, well, other teams, they prepare for this Giants pass rush. They do some, get the ball out of quarterback hands more quickly. They chip on these guys, so they do a lot of different things. So I said the other day, the other teams' coaches get paid as well. So there were some things to try to counter our pass rush, but the number one thing, we didn't get it done. The pass rush didn't get it done, and they feel badly about it. Those guys have a lot of pride up front, and we did. We ended up, I think, with 33, 34 sacks, and that's down from where we've been in the past. And our defense didn't play as well at times. But again, our defense ended up, Mike, with I think we're number 4 in the league, 3 or 4 in the league.
Yeah, 35 takeovers is tremendous. That's tremendous.
That's a lot of takeaways. And the scoring defense, I think we're like 12. But if you look at all the yards we get up, the total defense, we end up like 31. So it's a little deceiving in some ways. And plus, the offense, what you do on offense and special teams also affects your defense. So we're the whole unit, all 3 units, offense, defense, special teams. We're all to blame for what went down this past season, and we definitely will try to correct everything that went wrong.
Clearly, Pierre-Paul became a marked man. That's going to happen when you burst on the scene and become that kind of player. Teams are going to learn the first thing they're going to talk about is him and how to keep him from wrecking the game. Was this year a learning experience, an eye-opener for him? Is that how you look at it?
Well, I think so. I think so. The guy I'd love to talk to, for him to talk to in the off-season some is Michael Strahan, because, after Michael became the superstar defensive end, he was getting double-teamed, he was getting chipped, but he was still getting sacks. So, the great ones still get through there and make plays, and he's got to do that. He can't give up like, wow, they're double-teaming, they're triple-teaming me, I'm getting chipped, they're high-low me, they're doing everything to me. It's frustrating for a young player. So, but to be, a superstar defensive end, pass rush in this league, you have to beat those double-team blocks. And I'm gonna reach out to Michael Strahan this offseason to see if we can, you know, have him have some conversations with JPP and just tell him, look, you know, it's inside your chest, a lot of it. You know, you got to have it, the heart to do it, and I think he does. But I think if he hears it from somebody like Michael Strahan, that will really encourage him.
We're talking with Jerry Reese, the Giants general manager. You have a lot of players who have big resumes and are pulling down some big coin. You got some guys